My in-laws paid a man to crash our wedding and shout, "She's already married to me." My husband turned pale as his family smirked. "Told you she's a liar." He stared at me in disgust, until I pulled out a file that wiped the smirks off their faces instantly. This happened last year in Naperville, Illinois. I'm 33. My ex-fiancé is 35. We'll call him Ryan. We'd been together just over 2 years before getting engaged. Things moved fast, but not stupid fast. We lived together for over a year, had normal fights, did couples therapy before we even needed it. We thought we were doing it right. But Ryan's family never liked me. I'm not saying that as a general complaint. They made it very clear. His mom, we'll call her Barbara, was always cold. She would give fake smiles and ask me questions like she was conducting a job interview. "So how do you plan to support yourself in 5 years? Not support each other, just yourself." Always like that. His sister Claire was worse. Think Regina George, but grown up, bitter, and not as smart as she thinks. They said I was too private. I didn't talk about my past enough. I didn't share childhood photos when they asked. I didn't talk to them about my job, marketing strategist, too boring to explain every time. I guess they convinced themselves I was hiding something. But instead of just assuming I was shy or just not interested in them, which, fair, they decided I was dangerous. Let me say this, Ryan wasn't like them. Not at first. He always defended me. He'd say, "They just have trust issues," or, "They did the same thing to my ex before they realized she wasn't a threat." Spoiler alert, they were never going to stop. We planned a small ceremony at a historical estate with a garden setup. I was nervous but excited. Everything looked beautiful. We were doing personal vows. The crowd was quiet. The officiant began. And then it happened. Right at the part where they say, "If anyone objects," a man stands up from the back row. He's wearing a wrinkled suit, shirt half untucked, and he yells loud enough for people outside the tent to hear, "She's already married to me." Dead silence. At first, I thought maybe it was a prank. I literally don't know this guy. Never seen him before. Ryan's face? Instantly drained of all color. His eyes went wide, then narrow. I looked at him and said, "I don't know this man." Barbara gasped, then stood up slowly, looking at Ryan with this smug little nod. Claire leaned in and whispered something to her, then smirked at me. It was all happening way too fast. The guy, let's call him Dean, starts talking. He walks toward the altar with some papers in his hand and says he married me in Florida in 2016. He says I left him, never divorced him, and now I'm committing bigamy. He pulls out what looks like a marriage certificate and waves it around like it's the 10 Commandments. Ryan turns to me and asks, "What the hell is this?" My hands were shaking. I told him I have no idea who he is. This is fake. Barbara then says, loud enough for people to hear, "We told you she was lying about her past. She's not who she says she is." Claire adds, "We warned you. This whole thing is a scam." And here's the worst part. Ryan didn't say a word. He just kept staring at the guy. At me. At the paper in Dean's hand. That silence broke me more than the shouting. Barbara and Claire thought they were setting me up. But I already knew they were up to something. They'd been asking way too many questions about my past. Ryan even admitted they were having someone look into you. So I did what any sane person would do. I pulled my own background report, just to be safe. Absolutely clean. But I went a step further. Something in my gut told me they wouldn't stop. I had reached out to the clerk of courts in the Florida county Dean claimed I was married in. I sent them my info and asked if there was any record of a marriage. They replied saying there had been an attempted registration under my name, but it was rejected because the identity documents didn't match and there was no ID verification. It was a forged document, and it never got filed officially. So I had proof that this whole thing was a fraud. A paper trail. And I printed it all out. I had it in my purse, just in case. I also had emails. How? I'll explain. I noticed something odd. Claire had left her iPad at our apartment after helping Ryan with some design stuff. She had her email logged in. Out of curiosity, and yeah, snooping, I looked. And I saw emails between her and someone named Dean Carter. One subject line said, "Here's the script for the wedding interruption." I screenshotted everything. They planned the whole thing. Barbara paid Dean $5,000 through Venmo. Yes, she labeled it consulting. Claire coached him on what to say. And they were hoping Ryan would walk away from me in front of everyone. They wanted me humiliated, broken, alone. So I built my own file. All the screenshots, the emails, the court document, a statement from my actual friend in Florida who had seen Dean around Barbara's house months ago. I even filed for a restraining order against Dean just in case. Everyone's staring at me like I'm on trial. The officiant looks lost. Ryan is still frozen. I say loud enough for everyone to hear, this man was paid to come here. Everything he said is a lie. I can prove it. Barbara snorts. Of course she'd say that. I take my folder from my purse and hand it to Ryan. He flips through it. The court letter, the screenshots, the emails, the affidavit, the money transfer, all of it. His hands started shaking. He looked at Barbara. Did you do this? Barbara didn't answer. I turned to the crowd. I don't care what anyone thinks of me, but I won't stand here while someone accuses me of a crime that never happened. If anyone wants to see the truth, it's in that file. Dean? As soon as I said police report and restraining order, he started walking backward and practically ran out the tent. Ryan hasn't said a word to me since that moment. He just stood there with the file in his hand, jaw clenched, eyes red. His family left before the reception even started. I stayed. I didn't cry. I sat at a table and ate the cake I paid for. Alone. I don't know if Ryan's ever going to recover from what his family did. I don't know if I want him back. Part of me wants to walk away. Part of me wants to burn it all down. But what I do know is this: they tried to ruin me. In public. At the most vulnerable moment of my life. And I'm not done with them yet. I didn't sleep. I went back to my apartment alone. My dress was still halfway zipped. Hair falling out. Makeup smudged. I sat on my bed for hours, just staring at the wall. I wasn't even crying. It felt like the shock froze everything in me. At 6 a.m., I checked my phone. Ryan hadn't called. Not a single message. Not even a missed call. Nothing. But Claire posted a picture on her Instagram. Black background. White text. Sometimes the truth hurts. But lies hurt more. Hashtag family first, hashtag truth wins. The comments were full of people saying, "What happened? And are you okay?" One said, "So proud of you for speaking out." I felt sick. They weren't done. Around 11 a.m., I hear a knock. I look through the peephole. It's Ryan. He looks like crap. Red eyes. Same suit as yesterday. No tie. Crumpled shirt. I open the door. He just says, "Can I come in?" I don't answer. I move aside. He walks in. Then we sit. Just silence for a full minute. Then, I didn't know. I nod. Still don't say anything. They told me they were just concerned. That they were gonna run a background check. I didn't think they'd. I cut him off. You believed him. You looked at me like I was scum. He didn't deny it. Just nodded slowly. I froze. I panicked. I didn't know what to believe. I got up, walked to my bookshelf, and grabbed the envelope of printed screenshots. I tossed them onto the table. Then you should have asked. Not stood there letting me drown. Ryan told me he wanted to fix things. He said he cut off contact with Claire and Barbara for now. He asked if we could go away somewhere and clear our heads. I asked him one question. Did you tell them what they did was wrong? Silence. Did you yell at them the way you stared me down yesterday? He looked down. That was my answer. That week, I started hearing rumors. People from the wedding started reaching out. One of Ryan's cousins messaged me on Facebook and said, "I'm really sorry about what happened. But I think you should know, they're telling people you forged the file. That you're trying to frame Barbara." I couldn't believe it. Then I got a call from my boss. Apparently, someone sent an anonymous email to my HR department with a list of allegations against me. They claimed I had a criminal record, had changed my name, and used fake references to get hired. Luckily, my boss called me directly instead of just forwarding it to HR. She believed me. She said, "This is disgusting. Let me know if you want us to pursue legal action." Now I was angry. 3 days later, I get a text. "Claire, you should really stop pretending. You've already done enough damage. If you want this to go away, meet me. Just us. No drama." I showed the text to Ryan. He said, "Don't go." But I needed to. I needed to hear her say it. We met at a diner on Route 59. Public. Safe. I recorded the whole thing on my phone, just in case. She walked in like she owned the place. Sat across from me, sipping some overpriced smoothie like this was normal. Then she leaned in and said, "You're not going to win. We protected Ryan. You embarrassed him. You embarrassed our family. And now you want to act like the victim." I didn't flinch. She kept going. "You think a little file and some screenshots make you look smart? It makes you look desperate." Then she said the quiet part out loud. "Dean was a friend of a friend. We paid him. But we never thought he'd actually show up. That wasn't the plan. He went rogue." I said, "You emailed him a script." She smirked. "So? Prove it." I already had. That night, I got a call. It was Dean. Yes, the guy who crashed my wedding. He sounded drunk. Or tired. Or both. But what he said next changed everything. "Hey, look, I'm sorry. I didn't know how far they'd take it." I said, "You screamed that I was married to you." He said, "They told me you were dangerous. They said you scammed Ryan's last business. Barbara told me you were going to ruin him financially. She said I'd be protecting him. I didn't know it was all fake. I didn't even want to do it, but I needed the money. Then he said this. I still have the original messages. I didn't delete anything. He was scared. He said Claire was threatening to sue him if he talked. Said she'd ruin his life. I told him to email me the messages. He did. All of them. I took it all. The recordings. The screenshots. The forwarded texts. The confession. The call logs. I put them in a new file. And I booked a lawyer. Not just for defamation. Not just for emotional distress. But for a criminal conspiracy to defraud, interfere with a wedding ceremony, and harassment. And the best part? Dean said he'd testify. I thought things would quiet down after I got Dean's confession. I thought once I had the truth locked in black and white, they'd back off. But I underestimated how much they were willing to lose to win. It had been a few days since we spoke. He texted, asking if we could meet one last time. I agreed. We met at a lakefront cafe near his work. He looked worn down. He said, I know they lied. I've been reading everything you sent me. I confronted them. Barbara says it was just to protect me. Claire still won't admit anything. But I believe you now. I asked him, and what do you plan to do about it? He paused. Then said, I'm not sure. They're still my family. I nodded slowly. Then this is done. He didn't argue. Just looked away, like he already knew. I got up and walked away again. This is the part that caught me off guard. That week, I got an email from a headhunter. It was for a marketing director role at a luxury brand in Miami. High salary. Relocation bonus. Fast track to VP. The weird part? I never applied for it. I did some digging. The recruiter got my info from someone named L. Stevens. I had no idea who that was until I realized something. L. Claire Stevens. Claire's middle name is Lorraine. Her full name was on her LinkedIn once. I remembered it from when she tried to impress people with her consulting profile. I played along. I set up a fake Zoom interview with the company. Guess who showed up? Barbara, wearing a suit, pretending to be the regional director of HR. I recorded the entire thing. We're very interested in offering you this position, she said. We just need to verify some things, your criminal record, past legal activity, and financial history. We take that seriously here. It was like watching a bad Netflix scam show. I played dumb. I asked polite questions, smiled, and when it was over, I emailed the real company she was pretending to work for. They'd never heard of me or her. So now they were impersonating corporate executives to try and verify my background. Dean called again. This time he was terrified. They found out I sent you the emails. Barbara called me nonstop. She said if I don't retract everything, they'll go after my sister. Said she has a record and that she could lose everything if people knew. Then he said something that nearly made me drop the phone. Claire had copies of your ID. She sent them to me before the wedding. She said she got them off Ryan's laptop. She told me to use your driver's license info to file the fake marriage app. Said it'd make it look more real. I sat there frozen. So not only did they fake the whole story, they used my real information. They must have taken a photo of my ID at some point, maybe when we booked flights, maybe when I left my wallet near Claire. It wasn't just humiliation anymore. It was identity theft. One morning, I woke up to find an anonymous email sitting in my inbox. No subject line. It had one attachment, a PDF. Inside? A copy of Claire's text messages with Barbara. All of them. From a burner phone Claire used, where she admitted to hiring Dean, planning the wedding crash, and that she hoped I'd lose my mind from the stress. There was one line that stood out. I don't care if she ends up in the psych ward. Ryan deserves better. Whoever sent it used a Proton Mail account. No name, no trace. But then I realized, Dean. He was turning on them. And he wasn't the only one. A woman messaged me on Instagram a few days later. She said, I don't know if this is overstepping, but I think I dated your fiancé once. Ryan, right? I just saw the wedding video thing floating around. Wait, wedding video? She sent me a link to a private Facebook group called Justice for Ryan. Guess who created it? Claire. It had 200+ members, all people she invited. Some were family. Others were strangers. The page was full of twisted posts. She tried to marry my brother while still married to a man in Florida. Stay away from people like her. Don't let sociopaths win just because they cry louder. Screenshots of me from the wedding day, crying, confused, disheveled. They turned it into a smear campaign. That woman told me, Claire did the same thing when I dated Ryan. She faked messages from me to make it look like I was cheating. Then told Ryan's family I was mentally unstable. I asked her for a statement. She agreed. She wasn't the only one, either. Turns out, Claire had been doing this to every woman Ryan got serious with for years. This wasn't just about me. I have Dean's full confession fake job interview recording proof of ID theft screenshots from Justice for Ryan, past girlfriends willing to testify a real attorney preparing the civil and criminal case, but now Ryan's torn. He messaged me 2 nights ago, if you go through with this, my family will never speak to me again. I told him, then you better choose fast. And I meant it. It was supposed to be a fundraiser. Ryan's cousin works in nonprofit, and the family held a small benefit dinner in Lake Forest to support her project. It was mostly extended family, friends, and a few people I didn't know. I wasn't planning to go, but Ryan texted me 3 hours before it started. Please come. I want everyone to hear the truth. I need to say something. I didn't trust him completely, but part of me needed closure. I needed him to finally face them and say it out loud, not in private. In front of the same people who judged me in silence. So I went. The room went quiet. Dead quiet. Like I had walked into a crime scene. Barbara saw me first. Her jaw clenched, then she forced a smile. Claire stared at me, then turned to whisper something to a woman next to her. They both laughed. I recognized the woman, another aunt. One who never looked me in the eye before. I found Ryan near the front. He looked nervous. Sweating, shifting side to side. He walked up to the podium and tapped the mic. Then he said, before we talk about fundraising tonight, I need to talk about something else. Something personal. Something ugly. He started slow, apologizing to the group. Then said, at my wedding, a man crashed it and claimed my fiancé was already married. Most of you probably saw the video. Some of you probably believed it. I did. For a few seconds. I believed it. Because I didn't trust the person I was marrying. Not fully. But I should have. He looked straight at Barbara and Claire. My family planned it. They hired that man. They used stolen info. They paid him to humiliate her. And I stood there and let it happen. Gasps. A few people murmured, what? No way. Barbara's eyes went wide. Claire stood up, red-faced. Ryan, that's enough. Barbara snapped. But he kept going. She had the proof. I saw it all. I've seen the emails. The payments. The texts. I even saw how you tried to get her fired after the wedding. And now I've seen the Facebook group, too. Claire, you did that. You lied about other women, too. I finally talked to them. Claire yelled, this isn't the place, but people were already whispering. Someone stood up, Ryan's cousin. You made a fake job interview? Are you serious? Claire tried to speak, but faltered. Barbara stepped forward and grabbed the mic. This woman, she pointed at me, has poisoned this family. She's manipulative. She turned my son against us. You don't know what she's done. I stood up. For once, I wasn't shaking. What have I done, Barbara? Other than love your son? Other than keep quiet while you tore me apart behind closed doors? She turned to the crowd. I only wanted to protect my son. And then, Ryan said it. No, you wanted to control me. You've done this for years. And I let you. But I'm done. Claire stormed out. Barbara tried to follow, but people started talking out loud now. Not behind my back this time. That's insane. She should be arrested. This poor woman. A few people came up to me. They apologized. One woman hugged me. Another said, I believed them. I'm so sorry. Ryan stood next to me the whole time. Quiet. Tired. But he stayed. When we left, he walked me to my car and asked, can we fix this? I didn't say yes. I didn't say no. I said, maybe. But not now. 2 weeks later, Claire was served. Identity theft. Harassment. Civil suit in motion. My lawyer worked fast. Dean signed his affidavit. The past girlfriends provided statements. Even the Justice for Ryan group was submitted as evidence. Barbara tried to settle privately. Her lawyer offered me money. A lot, actually. I declined. I didn't want hush money. I wanted accountability. I don't know what happens with Ryan and me. We've had long talks. Honest ones. He's not perfect. He stood by too long. But he also finally stood up. Not when it was easy, but when it cost him something. Barbara and Claire? The family doesn't talk to them anymore. At least the people who mattered. The damage they caused won't fully go away. I still second-guess everything. I still hesitate before answering unknown calls. Sometimes I wake up in a panic, hearing that man's voice in my head yelling, she's already married to me. But there's something else too. Peace. The kind you get not from revenge, but from finally being seen, believed, respected, and most of all, free.
Asterisk after listening to today's story, perhaps it has raised some new questions in your mind, or maybe it has brought back some old memories. Every day on Reddit, new experiences and moments create fresh stories, and they connect all of us. Everyone has their own unique journey in life, and we all try to understand the world in our own way. These kinds of moments remind us that we are all human, sometimes happy, sometimes sad, and always learning something new. If you enjoyed this story, feel free to share it with your friends. Your thoughts and feedback are always valuable to us, as they motivate us to create even better content. Every story has its own unique angle, and our goal is to understand everyone's perspective and make our content diverse and relatable. Stories like these help us realize that life's journey is different for everyone, and by hearing other stories, we learn something new. You can also share your own stories with us. Your experiences are valuable to us as well, and if you enjoyed this video, please leave your feedback. We aim to create content that brightens your mind and gives you new ideas every time. If you've already seen this video before, your feedback is still important. With every piece of feedback, we can improve our content and bring a new perspective to our viewers. Today, what we saw was just a small part of the many stories shared on Reddit and across the world. It's a reminder of how we all try to understand life by sharing our experiences with each other. This video was only an example of how we try to connect with others through storytelling, learning about different sides of life. We hope to continue sharing such stories that help us all learn and grow together. Thank you for your time, and don't forget to keep an eye out for more stories coming soon. If you haven't already, please like and follow for more amazing content. Your support keeps us going, and we will strive to bring you more thought-provoking and heartwarming stories. Until next time, take care and stay curious. **.